Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the players for our Women's Championship. From Canada, Bianca Andreescu. From Germany, Angelique Kerber.
After a week and a half of stunning stories and terrific tennis, it all comes down to a glittering final at the BNP Paribas Open, where history will be made for one of the finalists. For Angelique Kerber, you would think the three-time Grand Slam champion has achieved nearly everything in the sport, but the former world #1 has never won a Premier Mandatory tournament. Will that change today? As for Bianca Andreescu, the Canadian has already made history by becoming the first ever wild card to make the final of this stunning event. But can the 18-year-old go one better and become the youngest player this millennium to lift the title? I'm Pete Hodges, and alongside me for this one is Naomi Cavaday. Naomi, it's been an incredible couple of weeks, and we should have an electric final to cap it all off.
Oh, it's just been stunning, hasn't it? I mean, right from round one, we've had these extraordinary battles where you just don't know who's going to win. And who would have expected Bianca Andreescu to make it all the way through to the final? It has been another tournament full of surprises and full of unbelievable quality.
Yeah, it is the 13th tournament of 2019. And we are going to have a 13th winner. And I suppose that just showcases what the WTA is all about right now. You just cannot predict a thing.
Hello. This is Nelly. She's going to be in charge. Ladies, same conditions, nothing special. Just a picture, please, with Nelly facing this way, and then without Nelly facing that way. Do you have any questions? You want to choose? Head, tails? Nelly. Tails. You receive? You stay here? Okay. Picture, please, here.
So that was Andreescu winning the toss and electing to receive. Bound to be a few nerves for the 18-year-old. This just her second WTA final of her career. And they don't come much bigger, do they, than the final of the BNP Paribas Open, a tournament that so many often call the fifth major. It's that big. Kerber, of course, has been in very big finals before in her career. This is her 29th WTA final, but it is her first at Premier Mandatory level, which, when I've been talking to people in and around the grounds, they've been surprised by that stat, because of course she's achieved so much in the game, the three-time Grand Slam champion. It is the 8th seed against the wild card, Angelique Kerber against Bianca Andreescu, for the right to lift the trophy here in Indian Wells in the Californian desert. And what a run it's been for both players. They've had their ups and downs, they've had their struggles at certain times, but they've also played phenomenal tennis, particularly in the last couple of matches. Kerber has seemingly got better and better as the tournament has gone on. That win over Venus Williams was stunning. And then Bencic perhaps not at her best for the semi-final. As for Andreescu, well, that was a slugfest against Svitolina, wasn't it? I mean, if you want to re-watch a dramatic match, pick that one, because it looked like she was completely running on empty, yet somehow through character and determination found a way over the line against the world #6 Alina Svitolina. Well, Angelique Kerber, 31 years of age now, such experience, of course, having won so much in the game, but looking to try and win her first Premier Mandatory tournament of her career. Of course, she made a change at the back end of last year, coaching-wise, and that didn't really make the best of starts this year. It's been a little up and down in her own words, but she says the understanding is now there with Rania Shuttler. She talked about the fact that she now understands him and he understands her before and after matches and during training. How important is that when you do have a new coach?
Well, it's a really tough thing to get, especially so quickly. So I think it's a really important aspect, because otherwise you just have clashes, sometimes misunderstanding, miscommunication, whatever it may be. Just the most important thing is to get on the same page. They clearly are on the same page. She looks incredibly happy with the direction of her game, and I mean, it's working wonders for her.
She's also the first left-hander in the final since 1992, and Monica Seles here in Indian Wells. There is the glittering trophy that they are both battling for. Do you like it? Is that one of your favourite trophies on the circuit?
Very smart.
It is. It's iconic almost now, isn't it? Especially with this being such an iconic tournament. As they say, it's known as tennis paradise, and it's been that sort of a week for Bianca Andreescu. I mean, we were talking about her coming into the event, having won more matches than anyone else on the circuit, and yet she's then gone and won even more matches. 27 out of 30 matches she's won this year. Okay, some of them have been qualifying, and of course the 125k event in Newport Beach. She's often talked about meditation helping her out. She's talked about how she was struggling a lot last year and saying that she was learning from the troubles last year. But what has been the main thing for you for the reason for the turnaround this year, or maybe her quick rise?
Well, it's just been extraordinary to watch. I mean, she's just completely fearless, and I just love that she has so many different elements to her game, and you almost feel like she could morph into anything. We've seen her counter-punching really well. We've seen some fantastic drop shots and some touch shots, some awesome power from the back of the court as well. So she has a bit of everything, including some fantastic movement. So it's tough to see a huge vulnerability in her game, and also there are weapons everywhere that can affect all different sorts of players and different game styles, and she said that she's not afraid to throw in some junk. Well, we know that that can work against Kerber, so I'm sure we'll see a few high balls going in today.
And she's not afraid to beat the top-ranked players this year. I mean, the run to the final, Wong, Muguruza, and then Svitolina. And we keep saying she seems to enjoy playing on the big stage. This is her second final. Never met before, as you can see there. But of course, the pressure goes up even more. This isn't just a, any old final. This is a huge final. Do you think pressure and nerves will play a factor for the Canadian today?
I think it has to. I mean, she's been incredibly fearless all the way throughout. I mean, she was a little nervous in her semi-final against Svitolina at the start, and she actually did look, you could see it in her face. I think it took a little while to settle, but then when she settled, it was like a completely different player. So maybe she's addressed that, learned from that. Maybe she's come out maybe a little bit warmer. Sometimes if you really get yourself sweating, you can kind of get some of those nerves out before you start the match, but it does, the pressure ramps up round after round after round. I mean, it almost doubles each time, and this is huge. So
it may be helped out by the weather, because it is 28 degrees Celsius, not a cloud in the sky. That weather brought to you by, or presented by, Dubai Duty Free. And this is almost the hottest it's been over the last 2 weeks. Do you think that will suit her? Obviously, the ball will travel through the air that much quicker.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think Kerber minds too much, really, in terms of the conditions. You see the Kerber camp.
And Schuttler, of course, is first final with his new player. And he was with Bianca for much of last year.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bianca Andreescu won the toss and elected to receive
the glittering trophy off the sunlight. It's been a wonderful tournament, arguably one of the best that there has ever been here in Indian Wells. Are we going to get the final? Would deservedly cap it all off. It should happen. All the ingredients is there. It's Kerber against Andreescu. Once again on the WTA circuit, it is youth versus experience. The 18-year-old Bianca Andreescu taking on the 31-year-old Angelique Kerber. It has been a sensational week and a half of tennis in the Californian desert. So many stories to talk about, and you have to say the story of the young Canadian perhaps trumps them all, and it certainly will trump them all if she goes on to lift the trophy in the next couple of hours or so. But she's up against the three-time Grand Slam winner, Angelique Kerber. This should be a mouth-watering final. Sit back and enjoy. It will be the German to get this one underway. Naomi Cavaday alongside myself, Pete Hodges, and we will talk you through. Is amazing, isn't it? The state that the WTA is in right now with regards to, we're seeing so many finals with young players up against experienced players, and we're also seeing so many interesting matches from day one of events. It's wide open all the time.
It really is, and the big tournaments as well. The young ones just seem to be loving the big stage, which has been something that maybe hasn't been around for a while. And we were talking a little bit about it off air just before we started. I mean, how crowded the top 10 is looking. I mean, when you start listing the players you feel like should be in the top 10, you can easily pick out 15 before you even have to start trying. So there's not room for all of them.
Talking of rankings, it's been an incredible jump for Andreescu. Started the year 178 in the world. Is now 60, but will jump to 33 if she loses this final, 24 if she wins it. And that's just in a few months. Kerber, meanwhile, will go to world number 2 if she wins this final. Spot, of course, she's been before. World number 1 back in September 2016. Kerber just backing off a little there, and Andreescu taking full advantage.
And she really has been pouncing on anything short and dealing with it just so comfortably, been completely clinical on those sorts of balls. And she will get short balls against Kerber, you always do.
How do you think she'll approach it tactically? We've already seen a couple of points there where she's thrown in the loopy ball. She's got a game style that has so much variety.
Yeah, I think the worst thing you can do from Kerber is just hit pace to the corners over and over. I mean, there are some players that can punch through her, especially if she's not playing at her best. So I think the variety is really important, injecting the pace down the middle of the court, getting really strong depth, and maybe taking a little bit of pace off when you're going slightly wider. Maybe with a bit of height, the switch up the line could be really effective.
That line ball from Kerber, and post-match interview after the semi-final, when Andreescu did say Angelique Kerber can hurt you from anywhere. You don't quite know what shot is going to come from where. That was almost an example there, that forehand on the run, able to turn the rally on its head.
You almost have to fight against your own instincts, because so much of being a player at this level is automatic. And when you get somebody into a certain position, you know that they're under pressure and that they're struggling. But for Kerber, it's not so. As you say, she's quite comfortable in those positions.
That's smart from Kerber. I think Andreescu was expecting the drop shot. Do we feel that the start of this match more important for Andreescu, especially when you consider the energy that she would have used up against Svitolina?
Yeah, I think so. Kerber's going to make this physically hard, and the longer this match goes on, the harder it will be for Andreescu.
Magical.
Dealing with that short ball really well. It's exactly what I was talking about. Takes it nice and early, gives herself so many options. Really could have done anything, but she chose the fancy option.
Well, we were talking about nerves with Bianca Andreescu and saying, would she be affected by such a big final? But how about that for an opening game? Really, it was Kerber who was affected by the nerves. 2 double faults. And it's the Canadian who goes up an early break.
Yeah, 2 double faults, some short balls, decelerating on that forehand as well, which we know can happen. But all signs of nerves for Kerber as she just tries to shake out her arm as she walks past.
Kerber, amazingly, incidentally, has never won a Tier 1 level WTA tournament. So what I mean by that is either a Premier 5 or a Premier Mandatory. She's been in 4 Premier 5 finals before, never won one, and this is her first Premier Mandatory final.
Bianca, Andreescu to serve.
So first time meeting against Andreescu, who is the first ever wild card to reach the final here. Pouncing on that. What a positive start this has been.
And she really will need to take all of her opportunities on the short balls. That's what she's been doing so brilliantly through the tournament. She's been sending a strong signal that the shot is not good enough to her opponents.
Duels already going Andreescu's way. Interestingly, Andreescu said that her goal was to make history, and I just did after winning that match yesterday against Svitolina. I'm sure there's plenty more history that she will want to make, though, throughout her career. Talked before the tournament, in fact, saying that she saw herself winning a Grand Slam, maybe 2, and making a name for herself and making history. And that was the funny thing, because she gave that interview pre-tournament. A week and a half later, here she is. Great tennis. Do you see her making history in the sport in terms of picking up slams?
Well, quite possibly. I mean, we are right at the beginning of her career. It doesn't really make sense that she's already in the final of this tournament. I mean, she has burst through this year. And actually, I think everybody's learning about Bianca Andreescu and quite what that ceiling might be.
Has been a super start. Andreescu backing up the break with a comfortable service hold. A lot of strapping on that right arm that hasn't been there throughout the week. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. As I say, the match against Svitolina a couple of days ago was more fatigue than anything else that she struggled with.
Yeah, and if anybody is too concerned, it's not actually as bad as it looks, because the strapping around the forearm is actually just to keep the taping down from the shoulder so that it doesn't start coming up with the sweat. So that's actually not an injury. It's just a little bit on the shoulder.
Thought this final would be a cracker, and it has started brilliantly well. So many interesting things going on within each rally.
Well, one thing is quite clear. Kerber's not enjoying herself. I haven't been playing that long. This is a really tricky matchup. She likes rhythm. She likes consistent pace. That is not how Andreescu plays.
Smoothly done. Just how easy is it, though, to play like how Andreescu plays? Because you so often see players, no one really doesn't like having rhythm, if you see what I'm saying. So, as in, why don't we see more players do what Andreescu's doing with, you know, heavy topspin shot followed by a slice, followed by flattening out?
But it requires a decision on every shot.
Oh, I mean, that's a perfect example. Suddenly goes big, then the drop shot.
Yeah, a real cut down low as well. So confident on that one. Yeah, it's that you can't really be too automatic with it. You have to make a considered decision all the time. You're making a choice, whereas, you know, if you're a big hitter, you know what you're going to do. And one of the most tiring things when you're out there is just decision-making over and over again. How often do we say that players in tight moments or at different times in their careers have poor decision-making? And it's very easy to say. It's an incredibly hard thing to get good at.
Not this time. This is why it's going to be so interesting watching this match, because Kerber will really test out the variation and the quality from Andreescu. But it's been a good start from the Canadian, although Kerber is now on the board. Andreescu leading 2-1. What a day. What a tournament it has been. Tennis paradise, there's a reason for it. The weather, also the food and drink that's provided here. 35 food and drink options, to be exact. But it is a day for the sunglasses and the sun hats. I think everyone who's in this wonderful stadium enjoying what they've witnessed so far in the first 11 minutes of this final. Doing the right thing, certainly. But this is going to be the test for Andreescu. Can she keep the level as high as it was for the first two games?
Well, we talked about the decision-making, and for all of the Andreescu fans out there, it might be pretty new to being an Andreescu fan, you're going to have to accept that she will overcomplicate it sometimes.
But that's something a lot of players do against Angelique Kerber.
She does really force you into making decisions you wouldn't otherwise make. Absolutely. I mean, she's an incredibly frustrating player to play against. Phenomenal counterpuncher.
Beautifully opening up the court.
30-15.
Sixth winner already for the Canadian. Not this time.
30.
I think we'll see a fair few of them. It's a good play against Kerber. She's very quick, don't get me wrong, but she can really drift back behind the baseline. She likes to counterpunch from a good meter or so back there. So I think as soon as Andreescu sees her and has a ball inside the baseline, she'll look for the drop shot.
It's a ripper. And slightly short from Kerber, and Andreescu doesn't need a second invitation for stepping up the court.
And the backhand cross court has been such a huge weapon for her through this tournament.
Missed it. Was able to turn the rally around there, Kerber, with some stunning defence, but it's the attack that lets her down. And Andreescu secures another game.
3-1.
Looking at omens for a final, I talked about Kerber's record in the Premier 5 finals, where she's 0-4. I think that perhaps is in Andreescu's favour. Is players that have won this tournament of late, 4 of the last 5 winners here, and ranked outside the world's top 10.
That change up the line just a little short from Andreescu. And Kerber can step on it if she wants to. She can hurt you. I mean, Andreescu is saying she can hurt you from anywhere.
Yeah, just caressed up the line. And Andreescu weaving her web again.
Pulling Kerber into an awkward part of the court. She's not entirely comfortable in the front section.
Example of exactly what you were just saying again. It certainly seems like the homework's been done by Andreescu.
Yeah, she had too many options there, Kerber, and in the end attempted a mishmash of them all, which was not going to work.
Kerber's mum there on the left, Maria Schuttler on the right. Oh, it's her favourite shot. Too many sweeter than that one.
Yeah, she enjoyed that, and she knew before she'd even hit it that it was a winner. You could tell by the grunt. It's always a good feeling.
That's a fine 1-2 punch. So just the one break in the first 5 games. And that's Andreescu, and that's why she leads 3-2.
3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Emirates Airlines seat upgrade. So let's hear it. Section 415. Who wants a seat upgrade? Congratulations, here are our winners. Let's get you upgraded to hot seats. Thank you, and fly Emirates.
What a stadium this is. 16,000 stadium capacity. Third largest tennis stadium in the world. Behind the O2 Arena in London and Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York City. You could argue the weather is better here. Andreescu certainly enjoying herself so far. Up a break, 3-2.
I know she's frustrated that she didn't make it, but she was onto it. That was the first one she had anticipated. Was there with a good time.
Good footwork up to the ball. And this is also one of the attributes for Andreescu, her fearless nature. We saw her miss a forehand drive volley a couple of games ago. Doesn't mean she's going to back away from that tactic.
Yeah, Kerber just can't get away with dropping it short. Some of her defensive shots she's going to have to come up with a little better.
This time.
13-15.
And that's something Kerber does so well, just makes you play one more shot. Great depth from Andreescu to set up the short ball. And again, Kerber ordinarily would get away with that a little, but Andreescu just skipping up to it so effortlessly, right through the back of the ball, gets it away.
Second service.
Wow. Dropped just 4 points on serve in her opening 3 service games, Bianca Andreescu. What we're watching so far is as if she's played in a lot of these finals before. Pressure, what pressure?
Looks pretty calm, doesn't she? Just going about her business, and doesn't look like she's running off adrenaline and really pumped up. We saw that a little bit in the semi-final, and then at the beginning of the second set had a real crash down. I mean, she was just marching around the place.
Great point. You get the sense Kerber isn't going to panic out there with all of her experience. Just beginning to perhaps get used to the pattern of play that Andreescu is throwing down to her. Again, was there pretty quick to the drop shot. That's nicely played as well. And she did actually say that pre-match, in regards to speaking about how her year's been, saying well, there was no need to panic. She's experienced in having ups and downs on the tennis court. with regards to the start of her year. There's been no need to panic in this match.
Again, that high ball just causing some issues. When Andreescu can get it perfect, like she did there, it comes up at Kerber really steeply, and when it's coming up underneath her, it's almost like an uppercut. And she really struggles to drive forwards through the ball, which is what she likes to do.
Other than the opening game where Kerber was broken, it's been pretty much on as even. Reducing the deficit to just the one game again, the German. Andreescu leading 4-3.
It's about rewarding fans, helping the players, and those who dream of playing.
Bianca Andreescu's talked a lot about meditation and how that's helped her visualize. We saw at the sit down there, Angelique Kerber just putting a towel over her head, and maybe just trying to visualize turning this match around as we see a youngster enjoy one of the many delights here in the Californian desert. So much to enjoy for all the senses, the taste and what we're seeing. And what we're hearing as well, the crowd getting behind Bianca Andreescu. There's been a lot of Canadians here throughout the week. It's one of the reasons why I think Andreescu's done well this week. Talk about this court being receptive to spin. It's a very heavy forehand that she hits. It does kick up sharply, and as you were saying, that's something that Kerber can struggle with at times.
Well, Kerber is somebody that really likes the ball coming through to her because she likes to go and meet the ball, use all of that energy. And when the energy is bouncing up off the surface so steeply, it's really difficult for her to redirect it with her technique. You mentioned that Kerber hasn't had the best of starts to the year. We were holding her to very high standards, but I think she's in agreement with that as well. So the last couple of matches, the semi-final and quarter-final, she beat Bencic in the semis, Venus in the quarter-finals, were probably it was her best tennis of the year. This has yet to match those matches for me in terms of what Kerber's producing.
Andreescu again comes through again pretty comfortably. Only dropped the 5 points on serve so far, the Canadian. And we're talking about nerves coming into this one, and really the reason that Andreescu is now a game away from taking this set perhaps is down to the nerves from Kerber in that first game. Since then, it's been very even. Kerber, though, serving to stay in the first set.
Well, another one of Kerber's biggest weapons is to make a match physical. When I say make it physical, I mean really brutally hard for her opponents. She has not been able to come anywhere close to that so far. A lot of that is to do with how Andreescu's playing, but also the errors from Kerber. And it would be a big tactic. We know Andreescu is tired. He's, of course, had this phenomenal week.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Do you think it has suited Andreescu having an extra day off? Of course, it isn't back-to-back for these players.
Yeah, I think so. I think you take anything you can get, really. I mean, she was really running out of gas in the semi-final. And there'll still be some stiffness, some soreness. She still won't be feeling completely fresh or brilliant, but definitely a little better.
Wow. And has that caught the line? If it has, that is an absolute stunner from Angelique Kerber. Andreescu thinks it's wide, as does Naomi, and I actually think I'm going to agree with both of them. It was flying, so you can forgive the line judge if they have got it wrong. It was like a laser. Oh, we're all wrong. It is a stunning shot from Angelique Kerber to close out the game, and a bit of momentum for the German to head into the next game, because she needs to do something she hasn't done as of yet in this first set, and that's break the Canadian serve.
Time.
Bianca Andreescu in this final so far has been playing with freedom and plenty of spirit. And has been playing nerveless tennis really from start to finish. But will the nerves come into play here? Serving for the first set. 5-4. Called wide. And challenge from Andreescu.
Just a little bit of extra pressure there, Kerber holding in that corner, and to get a bit of a lean going on, and even just moving your shoulders in a direction, it really makes the gap smaller. Often makes players overpress. Again, another skill that Kerber possesses.
So interesting, isn't it? Every single point. Both trying to make things as tough as possible for each other on every single strike. Better depth in that point from Kerber, but Andreescu then thinking smartly just to bring the slice in. What a serve.
13-15.
We've talked so much about Andreescu's game from the back of the court, the drop shots, the variation. But the serve, the first serve particularly, has been so solid for her through this tournament. It's aggressive, she can hit her targets really well.
Not just the first serve, the second serve has been unbelievable in this final. She's won 9 from 10 points behind the second serve. Curse of the commentator. She'll be wanting me to shut up. There's a second double fault. Those are the only points she's lost, though, when she's got that second serve in play. Well, when she's had to hit a second serve. Yeah, held her nerve well. And this has been it as well. As you were saying about the power of that first serve, but it's been the timing of it. So many times she's found a big first serve when she's needed it most. Can she find another here? It's a set point for the 18-year-old. Big gust of wind. What a set from Bianca Andreescu. I'm almost getting tired of saying that. Once again playing stunning tennis from start to finish, and takes the opening set by 6-4 in just 40 minutes.
Stopp. Stopp. Ich weiß. Die Sonne blendet von da, da sind die ganzen. Ich sehe nichts halt einfach, weil der Platz ist, keine Ahnung, wie der Platz ist. Es ist eben Sonne, du hast Abendschule. Pass auf, das ist alles scheißegal. Jetzt konzentriere dich, guck den Ball an, du diktierst die Punkte. Dann mach lieber Fehler, anstatt dass du in der Mühle bist, rechts, links. Weil,
Ich sehe den Ball nicht, das ist das Problem.
hey, dann konzentriere dich auf deine Beine, dich bewegen und guck den Ball noch besser an. Guck den Ball bei jedem Ausspringen an. Du holst dir das, du spielst gut. Es war unglückliches erstes Aufschlagspiel, Rest okay. Come on. Und wenn du die Punkte kontrollierst, holst du dir das. Halt dagegen, guck den Ball an, konzentriere dich noch mehr, wenn der Ball ausspringt und dann hast du den Schläger. Okay? Komm on. Auf geht's. Scheißegal, was ist, die Bedingung, fighten wir durch.
Ja gut, aber wie soll ich denn das spielen?
Du sollst den Ball angucken, sollst gegen den Ball gehen und du diktierst die Punkte. Fang mit dem Return an, schlag den Return. Nicht, dass du ihn schiebst und der einen Meter in das T fällt. Schlag ihn. Gut bewegen, jeden Ball fighten und offensiv spielen. So spielst du jetzt. Okay? Wenn sie hoch spielt, spiel mal hoch zurück, aber nächsten wieder ran an die Linie. Auf geht's, komm on, hol dir das, okay?
Find uses quickly, please. Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Rani Schuttler being called out onto the court. It was very interesting to watch. I'm afraid both of us don't speak German, so we can't say what was being said. But early on in the exchange, Kerber, I think it's safe to say, wasn't happy and was letting out a lot of that in the direction of her new coach. Schuttler, meanwhile, was just responding in a very calm manner. And, I mean, this is something that she's talked about of late in terms of saying it's taken a while to understand both of their personalities and see how they deal with all sorts of things. And in a way, that I think that's a good thing, that Kerber feels comfortable to be able to shout at a coach like that with such a new relationship.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, she was clearly just letting off some steam.
What do you think would have been said from Schuttler in terms of what needs to happen here?
Well, really, I think it's very straightforward. I mean, she just has to be more aggressive. I mean, she has been sitting way back because she's been a little nervous to start off with, and she's been overwhelmed. Andreescu really has been able to deal with almost anything Kerber has produced out here. But what Andreescu has done so well is play into the corners with not a huge amount of pace, with a little bit more shape, like we just saw that forehand. And Kerber's frustrated because she's got nothing to counter when she's out in those positions. And when Andreescu's gone with pace, she's often gone down the middle. It's an incredibly smart play, very sensible against Kerber.
Solid first game for the German.
First game.
Help her perhaps
Second
forget
set.
what has gone before with regards to the first set.
Well, looking back to the first set for Kerber, I mean, she wasn't that aggressive, but still made 14 unforced errors, which for Kerber is a huge amount, really. Only the 6 winners in total. So I think 14 unforced errors is absolutely fine. If she was being much more aggressive, playing up the court, she'd be doing a lot more damage. And I didn't get to Andreescu's stats, but if you watch that set, you'll know that it was pretty much perfect.
Oh, what a return. You wanted more aggression. How about that?
All right. That's what we're talking about. A huge forehand down the line from Kerber. I mean, it's one of her strengths. She'll be wanting to put a few more out there. Rena Schuttler would be loving to see a few more of those.
It's the feisty nature of Andreescu. Don't worry about the young Canadian in a scrap.
Well, mixing in the backhand slice, so effective there from Andreescu. Kerber's got to make sure that if she has an uncomfortable shot like that, she gets it back deep. Doesn't need to be hard, and then be aggressive on the next ball, where she is just a little more comfortable.
Yeah, do you think depth has been a key factor in this match? Kerber not hitting it as deep as we have seen throughout the tournament. That's the type of point we just haven't, and certainly weren't seeing in set one from Kerber.
We haven't really seen her launch her body through the back of the ball at all, like those couple of forehands there. And that's what Kerber has to really do, lean the shoulders in, go forwards to the ball. That's why we were saying she struggles so much when that ball is bouncing up steeply off the high one.
Already there's been a big change behind the second serve of Andreescu. Remember, when she got it in play, she didn't lose a point in the first set. She's lost 2 from 2 so far in this game, with Kerber being that much more aggressive off the return. It's a more aggressive Kerber, but Andreescu able to withstand the early pressure in the point to turn it around and win it.
Yeah, it's the right way for Kerber, though. She's just got to keep going. I mean, she's clearly not been feeling great out here, so it may take a couple of games before she feels more comfortable with it. Still got to keep committing to it.
So good from Andreescu. Oozing quality. And that's a big game to win, because Kerber had upped her level there, upped the aggression. It's just another mini mind blow to the German.
It's just frustrating that she's not doing the damage that she would like, but as I was saying, it's just going to take her a few games before I think she feels a bit more comfortable with it. Andreescu just responding. We've seen that throughout the tournament.
Second time she's actually hit Kerber accidentally with bouncing the ball. This time she realised she hit it and apologised. I think it's going to be helping Kerber's mood, though. What a point again. So eager to get forward.
And such a simple finish, recognising that it was a little lower, the final ball, not opting for the drive volley because she might end up rushing the swing and miss-hitting it. And just a nice nudge into the space. Kerber's starting to move very quickly between points here. Frustrations are boiling over. Really nice. One of Kerber's favourite plays. The lefty swinger out wide. And they're just taking the next shot, the first ball right into the other corner.
of depth.
14-13.
It's the first shot from Andreescu in this entire match that I think she's really kind of got wrong. I mean, I know we've seen kind of a miss-hit drive volley, but there was more because she was just a little too keen for it. One actually just sitting back waiting and not really doing anything.
Just shows you what she's done though here. 52 minutes we've been playing.
Oh, I mean, it's a compliment.
It's the first time that we said, okay, made the wrong choice. What foot speed from Andreescu. Is there anything this girl can't do?
Kerber did not expect Andreescu to get a racket on that ball, especially she just tapped her racket on the ground before she made the first move. Looked like she was slowing down. Got her head down, motored towards it. Kerber did not know what to do with that last shot. She wasn't expecting to play one.
Just electric tennis. In the zone right now is Bianca Andreescu.
And she just has an answer for everything. I mean, how tough was that bounce smash? It was such an awkward position.
All of a sudden, this final has been turned up to 11.
Back to the old favourite, lefty swinger, punch into the corner. She particularly likes it when she gets the backhand. She can hit across the body.
Oh. Oh my word. Just astonishing.
Boy, is she having a whale of a time. You can see she's already starting to really feel it in the legs. And Kerber needs to take note of that, even though she's not feeling great. But what a shot to come up with such cut on the ball.
Second break point. Both players just going toe-to-toe right now. It's absorbing tennis. This now, you feel, is almost becoming a huge game in the context of this final, because whoever loses it will feel they've played some great tennis in it, and yet their great tennis hasn't been good enough. Just a little late.
Well, Kerber just has to win this game. I mean, there's just no question about it. I'm not saying that she couldn't win the match if she didn't win the game, but she hasn't had a break point yet.
One good thing if she does win this game is it will have taken out that much more from Andreescu as well, in terms of fatiguing her opponent. Does come through the game. That's a gutsy hold from the 8th seed. Had to dig deep. Andreescu threw everything at her. But after all of that, we're on serve in set 2. Kerber leading 2-1.
Time.
Well, this is going to be a very interesting game now for Bianca Andreescu. The reason I say that is because she put a lot into trying to break the Kerber serve in the previous game. So will there be a hangover effect? Generally, she's been holding serve pretty comfortably throughout.
Well, we said that Kerber's task was to make this match physical, and we hadn't seen it. That last game was brutal on the legs. Lots of drop shots that both players had to chase down.
Oh. Can you believe it? Kerber can't, that's for sure. The perfect combination. I mean, the drop shot couldn't really have been any better. It was astonishing footwork from Kerber just to get there. But then how about this for a flick up in the air and onto the baseline?
Such a tough lob to play that from that position. Andreescu getting it inch perfect. Kerber's doing a much better job when she's under pressure, finding the depth. And that is just forcing Andreescu to work a little bit harder. And there we see, pull the trigger off a kind of shorter ball, but it's not as short as she was getting a few games ago. So it's just hanging there, tempting.
And this is where the physicality, how fit Andreescu is right now after everything she's been through throughout this year, the amount of matches she's played, not just here in Indian Wells, but throughout the year. That time, though, from Kerber, it was a little short. Andreescu, I mean, she said she's in the best shape she's ever been in. And she talked during this tournament saying that she's come a long way fitness-wise. Do you still feel she has some way to go, though?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's never fun when there's nowhere to go. You know, I think it's important. Keeps them driving forward. But, I mean, of course, great strides have been made.
Clearly been employed today as well, just to go for the second serve as well from Andreescu. Stopped Kerber from getting on the front foot in the Canadian service games.
Very nice from Kerber. Just allowed that ball to come into the strike zone. She knew it was lining up nicely. And then driving the hip through the back of it. You can see the side spin on it. No topspin at all.
Done it again as well. Talking about aggressive second serves. That really is amazing tennis from Andreescu. How many times does she have to reset and then go for it again? Just relentless, though, from the world number 60.
So many extra shots from Kerber, but again, just giving up the control of the point with the short backhand. Needs to find the depth consistently. It's getting there.
Not this time for Andreescu. And again, Kerber showing her foot speed.
Yeah, it's been a little overplayed, the drop shot from Andreescu, but Kerber has always been nudging it down the line as well, so maybe she can start anticipating that if Kerber makes a good run.
Oh dear. It's the right move, just the wrong execution.
Yeah, you've got to feel positive about that. Still going up, trying to take it. It's the right thing to do.
Talked about the importance of this game following the previous one. If Kerber wins them both, and you do feel there's a big change in momentum in this final. Break point for the German. A couple of unforced errors, and Kerber breaks. We asked the question of whether Andreescu could keep her level as high as it was in that first set. Kerber continually asking the question, and this time Andreescu didn't have the answers.
A little bit of extra depth, an extra shot, forcing Andreescu to work that extra bit harder, and she's cracked. Well, I like that, though, at least going back to using the middle of the court. It's such a key thing for Kerber, particularly depth or pace down the middle. That's where she can really struggle to get herself into the right position.
It's got to be careful here, Andreescu, because I just feel after losing those two grueling games, this set could just get away from her. And with that, the match could get away from her. Having lost the momentum. Had to be good because Kerber was expecting it, but it was good from the Canadian.
I mean, the drop shots are outstanding, aren't they? She plays them with such confidence. She plays a full shot as well. I mean, so many players can just try and jab it in and hope it works out, but she just knows. She knows if she's just going to play the drop shot, it's going to be good.
This has just been a classic Kerber turnaround, hasn't it? Talking about all the struggles she had in set one. They've been playing for 25 minutes in this set. Just the 4 unforced errors from Kerber. She's hit more winners than that. I need to stop talking. Every time I seem to mention something, the player does the opposite. There's a 5th unforced error from the German. She won't mind too much if she can win this point. Which she does. Backs up the break. It's a 3rd straight game for Kerber. And Andreescu looking a little weary. 4-1 Kerber.
Excellent tennis, excellent. It's just a matter of a couple of points here and there. You're playing well. I'm going to just remind you the stuff we discussed before the match. hit with her, you mix it up. You use your high balls to her backhand to push her back. You don't get into just getting the ball.
Okay, well, it's hard when she gets so flat and short.
I understand. Well, when she hits a little shorter, you can step in for sure. But when in the rallies, you try to push her back. You're doing the right things. On the second serve, on the outside, be careful. Go a little bit more on her backhand. A little bit more on her backhand with your second serve.
But even when I go there, I'm like ready for the down the line. She just hits an unbelievable shot all the time.
She hits some good return. Yeah, but she's using her forehand there. Like
yeah, but I'm ready to run her on the other side, but her shots are just too good.
Okay, well, credit to her then. But like you got to watch for her backhand cross court and her forehand on the line. And overall, you just want to make sure you keep your ball nice and deep. You want to make sure you lift your ball, you snap it with your height and your margin, your shape, really heavy, really aggressive, and you push her back. Like you don't want her to be so able to sort of like get inside the court. Okay? So you keep doing that. You're doing great. I see when you're in trouble, you try to get it up, and this is exactly what you want to do. But listen, it's a mindset. It's all about competing right here. That's all it is. You know, it's a tough match. We knew that. We discussed it.
Yeah.
So you're ready for it. Like, don't just expect it. We discuss it. Okay? Come on. Let's go. Come on.
Sylvain Bruno giving a bit of a pep talk. You could probably hear at the end of that exchange to Bianca Andreescu. Generally was talking about trying to just get the variation going again, throwing the high balls. And the response from Andreescu when he said that to her was, it's so hard when she's hitting it so hard and flat and short. He just sort of encouraged her to say that she still can do that. Also talked about second serve, getting it more to the backhand side. But you could tell how she was feeling with regards to what Kerber has changed and what Kerber has been doing the last half an hour or so. There was a lot of reinforcement of the things that the Canadian had been doing well, though, from Sylvain. But what did you make of the exchange, Naomi?
Yeah, I mean, you could see her frustrations, and she was saying, look, you know, I know what she's going to do, but her shots are just too good. I thought, well, I mean, yeah, she won Wimbledon last year, right? and as he said, you should expect that. Of course, she was ready for it, but it is just the frustration in the match. And also, she wasn't making those shots in the first set. So she is playing quite a different opponent. Even though she would have been ready for it, they would have prepared for it. It's easy to go along for the ride in the first set and think, oh, this is all nice and rosy. And then suddenly, Kerber, the champion, comes out.
We talked about this actually last time Sylvain came on. With regards to, I enjoyed the fact that he did reference how well she's playing, because we've said a few times, especially against a Kerber, as in players overchange things.
Yeah.
And then they panic, and then they start doing something completely different away from their own game style. And I think it was key for him to mention how well she has been playing. That's lovely. Because let's not forget, Andreescu could easily have been the player who was a break up here. You know, there was a long deuce game on the Kerber serve where she had break points, Kerber held, then it was another long deuce game where Kerber broke. So it's only been a point here and there, which has turned this second set around. It's a quick fire hole for Andreescu, and that will make her feel a whole heap better.
Well, what they were talking about at the end of the coaching chat was about competing, and just that, and then actually you're playing against a brutal physical player in Angelique Kerber. She's playing much, much better. Just got to compete. You just got to try and tough it out. You know, yeah, it's not going to be easy. We knew that. She is a great champion, former #1 in the world.
You may have seen the Romanian flag being flown there. Andreescu have Romanian parents. That's why. talking of Romania, it's actually idolised and based her game on a certain Simona Halep, and it was Halep's advice towards her to turn professional very early. Good idol to have, and good advice to have from someone to the very top.
Yeah, and if her coach is asking her to compete, well, compete like Halep.
Smart shot from Andreescu. We talked about Kerber liking pace into the corners. So why not float a sliced ball right onto the baseline down the middle? Must be so frustrating to play against with Kerber because you know what's coming that side. But dealing with it is another thing altogether.
Yeah, just, I mean, the amount of court you have to cover. And yeah, you can know about it all you want. You can try and take the ball early. You can try many different things, but it is just such a wide distance. I just feel like in this game, Andreescu's almost tried a little bit too hard to take on board her coach's information. A couple of the completely wrong shots to try and go for the higher ball, and also she's desperately trying to keep it on the backhand side, which is what he asked her to do as well. She's just messing herself up.
Yeah, a bit of frustration for Andreescu. Kerber continuing to do her thing. And as we know with Angelique Kerber, her thing is so often winning, and she's a game away from winning this second set. 5-2. Those here on Stadium 1 will have no doubt been absolutely loving every second of this one. It's been fascinating from a tactical point of view, also from a historical point of view. Remember, we're watching an 18-year-old. An 18-year-old hasn't won this tournament, or someone as young, I should say, as Bianca Andreescu, since 1999. Serena Williams as a 17-year-old. Andreescu was to win here, by the way. The only younger players to have won ahead of her on that list at the BNP Paribas Open. Hingis in 98, Serena Williams in 99, and Monica Seles in 92. So she'll be alongside some illustrious winners and illustrious tennis players. But Kerber has the momentum here. rare Kerber error. Hence that reaction, especially at this time in the match. Interestingly enough, if Kerber was to win here and turn this match around, she would be the 4th oldest winner. Navratilova, who won it in 91 and 90, was 33 and 34. And then, of course, Flavia Pennetta, who won it in 2014. So many contrasting elements to what has been a really absorbing final so far. Third double. The body language has changed a fraction from Andreescu as well. Oh, what a clever bit of ingenuity that was from Kerber.
Oh, how about that from Kerber? They didn't quite put topspin on the ball, but to come over the top of it, just nudge it away, just almost push it, give it a shove over the net.
Second service.
Again, just bouncing up so steeply at Kerber, and you can see how she struggles to go forwards through it. Ends up almost getting on top of the ball. Has no momentum through the shot.
Shortcut the point again there, Andreescu. Is that a sign of mental fatigue? First set, she was picking the right ball and what to do on it time and time again. But then she goes and does that.
A little bit short on the return from Kerber, and just dealt with ease by Andreescu. Just walloping that one away.
Is that a sign as well of physical fatigue? Double faults coming in, second double of the game. Is she perhaps pushing up enough Certainly did there. She looks like she's just trying to keep it together here mentally. Feels like she's on the edge. She's talked a lot about using breathing techniques to keep herself calm, both mentally and physically. I think it's just, I mean, the task in front of her here, I mean, she knows that this is going to be such a physical battle now, right through to the end, every single point. But the good news for her is that she has the power to still hit through Kerber. Again, doing really well with that high ball and getting it falling sharply. Kerber trying to take a step back there to give herself a little bit more room so it didn't come underneath her. But then it was above her head. And she doesn't have enough strength there. Stays alive in this second set. Once again showing so much guts and character, which is what we saw at the back end of the semi-final against Svitolina. But what we're seeing is how much of a worry is this if it does go to a third? I think from the beginning of the match we knew that if this went to 3 sets she was going to be really feeling it physically. That's where Kerber is hoping the match does go. Serving for the second set. Yeah, it's a sweet strike from Andreescu. Using the middle of the court really well, just waiting until she got given a bit of width. She had a bit of time to set up the backhand, 1 step forward. Kerber didn't even take a step. It's been a bit of a shaky game from Kerber. Can Andreescu take advantage? Going back to that combo, how many times have we seen it? I mean, it's probably the one thing that I don't feel like Andreescu's got a grip on at all in this match. He really hasn't had an answer. When that serve has come in swinging out wide, Kerber's been able to just dismiss the forehand or backhand that comes after. Oh, no way through. Ball just kept coming back.
The ball was called out.
Great defense from Kerber. Andreescu challenging here, but I think it's more in hope than belief. And it has just missed. And Kerber really counter-punching there, really getting a bit of oomph behind the ball on that backhand side.
2 challenges remaining.
And it is a set point for the German.
Thank you.
like the great champion she is, Angelique Kerber responding and ensures that this final will be settled by a deciding set. Kerber takes the second, 6-3. Well, as we said just a few moments ago, and we said off-air to each other that if this went 3, the pendulum would swing towards Angelique Kerber, just physically and mentally. It's questionable what Bianca Andreescu has left in the tank, but she proved so many people wrong with that win over Svitolina. Can she do so again here in this deciding set? It will be the Canadian to get this final set of the final underway. And I'm guessing that's the sort of tennis that we're going to see here from Andreescu. It's going to be all-out attack, surely.
It would make the most sense, really. She knows she's playing Kerber, who's playing well now. In the first set, that was slightly different. And look, I think we were saying at the beginning of this match, if it goes to 3, she might run out of gas. She probably will run out of gas. But she did run out of gas against Svitolina. Wow.
That's possibly the best of the lot.
Wow. Phenomenal. I mean, how about this for a shot? Quick change of grip. Again, a full shot. Plenty of height, not afraid of playing the shot properly.
Just astounding tennis. We may be an hour and a half into this final, but both players thinking so clearly. And Andreescu again coming up with the goods.
Sensational, aggressive play from Andreescu. She went with pace, corner to corner, and she beat Kerber with it. Not many players can do that. can see just how physical that point was, though. And I mentioned that she did run out of gas against Svitolina and somehow was operating off vapor or whatever was left inside her. Sheer will.
Double faults are becoming more frequent. 2 in her last service game.
And that one was the most tired looking. A big collapse down with the shoulders. Went quite far down the net.
Well played. And we said it against Svitolina. It was important that Andreescu had the lead and got into the lead in that final set against the Ukrainian.
First game.
And that may well inspire her forwards. The finishing line is drawing nearer. Very good first game, though, of this third set.
Next exchange over, please.
And we saw the drop shots come back in that game, as well as some big hitting. But we got both players playing well now, which is very exciting for this third. That second set, much tidier from Kerber. A few less unforced errors, a couple more winners. But really, it was all about getting that break of serve, and she'd had no break points up until that point. She got her first break point, managed to take it.
Thank you.
And Andreescu just couldn't get things back on track. It was still a very tight set.
Another debate we were having before we got on air was whether or not this tournament has been the best ever Indian Wells tournament, because it's been stories and unbelievable tennis from start to finish every day. And we said if the final was good, then it would surely be up there. Just a little heavy-handed there, Kerber, but what I was going to say is that we're an hour and 35 minutes in, and before that point, Kerber had won 69 points. Andreescu had won 69 points. This final is good. Is it the best ever BNP Paribas Open?
It's the best one I can remember, that's for sure. I can't remember all of them, though, unfortunately.
I'm with you on that. And I'm that little bit older as well. But I don't like to say that. The counter-punching ability of Kerber, no matter what position she's in, to be able to redirect the ball. Still hit with pace. Smart tennis, easing herself up the court and taking it early.
Yeah, and that positioning really was what was pushing Kerber around. Again, Kerber just dropping back in her positioning. Andreescu up inside the baseline. She's looked so good from that position. I mean, you've got to back her when her feet are inside the baseline.
Again, Kerber just asking the question. Andreescu looking a little tight there. A little slow with regards to half a step up to that ball. And it's 1-all deciding set.
There is a negative to going on an all-out attack. You know, if you're running out of energy, I mean, it makes sense. You know, your points are going to get shorter. You're going to punch your way through. You might make an error as well, which keeps the points shorter. But if you're not punching your way through, and against Kerber, she's one of the toughest to do that against. It's the most exhausting way to play because it's explosive. And the explosive movement, powerful movement, is the most draining. And if you're asked to repeat that over and over and over again, it's just shattering for the legs particularly. And actually running around at the back of the court and just making balls becomes a lot less tiring. But if playing that game style means that your rallies are 3 or 4 shots long, of course you're going to save a lot of energy.
These are big moments for Andreescu.
15-13.
She's proved many people wrong time and time again in this tournament with the run that she's been on. Things don't look good right now, but with the talent she has, you just cannot write her off. Talent and character, I should have said. First serve percentage also coming down. Oh, it was unbelievable defense from Kerber. But again, Andreescu finds a way to get the ball past her.
Oh, I mean, how about that response from Kerber on that backhand side? The little flick absorbing such pace. That one there. Just to land plump inside the baseline. Credit to Andreescu for resetting there. Kerber saw Andreescu move out to that corner, wanted to get a little more width on it and ended up hooking it out.
So for those of you that have watched Andreescu, as much as we keep talking about fatigue, there have been moments throughout the year where she has looked a little like this, but yet still come through the matches and still played great tennis. It's a big hold. Once again digging deep. Once again coming through again. The Romanian flags are flying, as are the Canadian ones. Andreescu edges in front again, 2-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Andreescu is now receiving a medical treatment.
Can you move the ice chest? I'm going to come behind the chair. Oh, this should be.
Yes. Rest of the match.
And 1 minute. The rest of the match, so the chair on card if you want Anna to come back on court.
Well, at the sit-down, Bianca Andreescu receiving a medical timeout to do with what we think is her shoulder injury. But a bit of a massage along the arm. The tape was not quite reapplied, but pushed down. Didn't seem to be in too much pain, which is good news. Of course, it would have given her a bit more time as well to catch her breath. Had a bag of ice with her as well.
15-0.
Kerber surely is just going to focus on making Andreescu play over and over.
Talked about the fact that whoever wins this one will be the 13th winner in 13 tournaments on the WTA Tour. This will also be the 11th out of those 13 finals that has gone the distance. Talked about just how tough it is to predict who's going to come through the finals, but it's such a good position, isn't it? It's so fascinating, not only every single tournament, every single day of the tournament. It's going to give Andreescu a lot of encouragement, going toe-to-toe with Kerber and coming out on top. Safe to say she's got a little more crowd support than Kerber.
Well, that wasn't quite as aggressive as we saw her in the previous couple of games. I just don't think it's sustainable to play that explosively through every single shot, not when it's coming back this much.
Oh, well, Kerber just has to be careful here, because again, forced onto the back foot, hitting short. For once, Andreescu's forehand letting her down.
She can't believe she missed that one. Just rushed a little bit. You could see she almost got on top of the ball and the contact point ended behind her.
It's that sort of a match, isn't it? It's been that sort of a tournament. Emotions swinging one way then the other. Kerber escapes. 2-all in the decider.
2-0.
Just feels like the momentum and energy is just sitting with Kerber. We know she can do this all day. We very much expect her to maintain this level for the rest of the match. We have a big question mark with Andreescu, but that's because we haven't seen a huge amount of her. She's so new to this level.
Especially with Kerber, of course. She's chasing what would be a 13th title. She's done it on the biggest stage of the lot of them, hasn't she, in regards to winning 3 setters, beat Pliskova 6-4 in the third at the US Open final in 2016. Beat Serena Williams in the same year at the Australian Open final. Let's just remind ourselves how far Andreescu has come. This time last year, she lost in the second round of an ITF event in Tokyo, which was a 25K tournament. now in this final, and throughout the majority of it has been leading the way against a former world #1.
You just really feel the energy has dropped from Andreescu. I mean, it's completely understandable. It is in no way a criticism of her. It's been phenomenal what we've seen in this match alone. And also every time she's had that drop, it's maybe lasted a couple of games and then she's come right back with another big burst of energy, but she's just got to make sure the score doesn't go against her when she's feeling that dip.
And these are worrying times. 2 break points for Kerber, and as you can see, she's 1 from 1 on the break points so far. And it's a great point from Andreescu. Nothing too complex there. Controlled aggression. It's Kerber who breaks. And if Andreescu's legs were feeling weighty, they may well feel a little heavier now. And that beautiful trophy is a step closer to Angelique Kerber. 3-2.
It becomes a little bit here, mind over body.
My feet are burning.
Yeah.
I really changed my socks. I changed my socks. Like, I can barely move out there.
Yeah, you know how strong you are. You know how strong you are mentally and physically. And now it's true. You need to push. You're right. You're going to need to push through it. You're going to need to stay strong under adversity. But that's okay. That's what you want. You welcome competition.
I want this so bad.
Okay, that's good. Perfect. I like to hear that. So go out there and keep competing every single ball, every single point. You get your mindset.
What I do? Like, just getting to everything.
Well, that's all right. We knew that, but keep your ball deep. Keep working her hard. Okay. Up. Ready for a down the line forehand. Come on.
A really extraordinary exchange. Sylvain Bruneau coming onto the court again. The big line there for me was, my feet are burning. And I think a fair few players have felt like that against Angelique Kerber in the past. And I was also just sort of saying, I don't know what I should do. What should I do tactically? She's getting to everything. This is going to require a big effort from the Canadian if she wants to turn this around. Said be careful of the forehand up the line as well, was the last couple of words from Bruneau. Kerber just easing one up the line as she does almost in her sleep. What else did you make of what he had to say? I mean, he was generally talking about competing and going for it, really.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing she was talking about at first was the fact that her feet were burning. She was just exhausted. She didn't really know what to do. And so that was what he had to deal with, which is just you have to push through it. This is where we really see what she's made of. Look, I mean, sometimes you can't push through it. She already did against Svitolina. I mean, can she do that again?
magical. We've seen some combinations today from Andreescu, and if her feet are burning, that will make them feel a little better.
Now the drop shot has just been stunning from Andreescu, time after time. Again, a full shot, complete commitment. She knows she's got it in the bank.
Kerber applauding that from Andreescu. We keep questioning the young Canadian. I think we should stop doing that.
Well, she keeps having these dips, which for most players mean they're kind of finished off, and then the momentum would go with Kerber, but she just will not allow it.
Sylvain Bruneau saying, you know how strong you are. That has clearly stayed in her mind. She's on the comeback trail again. Astonishing reserves. Where did that energy come from? Andreescu breaks back and it's 3-all.
And every time we've seen that dip from Andreescu, she has found another burst, another level. Just launching herself at Kerber.
How much do you feel that in this situation as well, the crowd are going to play a part in terms of getting that adrenaline going again?
Oh, she needs it. I mean, she needs every drop of energy she can get.
The pep talk clearly worked. No way. How has she just played that shot? On the stretch, the balance, the strength, the ability.
The ambition to take that on right up at the baseline. If she had missed it, I'd have said she was crazy.
She was almost doing the splits. And I think Kerber's a little bamboozled, and this is similar to what we saw against Svitolina. Thinking, I've got my opponent exactly where I want them, and then all of a sudden, she looks like a completely new player.
And Kerber's got to keep control of those unforced errors.
Easy as you like.
14.
I suppose we said this against Svitolina. When you are physically drained, it makes life a little easier. You know what you have to do. But it's another thing doing it. Where has the energy come from? What a couple of games from the Canadian. And Andreescu's back in front. 4-3.
4 games to 3. Kerber's coach is without coach.
Hier. Auch wenn sie jetzt gut gespielt hat, also gibt es hier Zeit.
Aber was soll ich denn machen? Die trifft gerade jeden Ball.
Ich sag ja, die hat gut gespielt. Warte, stopp. Aber du spielst zu defensiv, ein bisschen zu kurz, sie kann reingehen in den Ball. Versuch wieder ein bisschen an die Linie dagegen zu halten, länger zu schlagen und du diktierst, weil sie ist müde. Komm mal, du schaffst das. Glaub an dich, du schaffst das. Nicht überhastet, aber du willst aktiv spielen. Jetzt bist du zu weit hinten und gibst dir zu viel Zeit. Komm mal, ganz konzentriert. Guck den Ball an, jeden Ball. Du schaffst das, okay? Auf geht's. Jeden Ball. Guck den Ball an, Arm zurück, schlagen. Keinen Ball schieben, jeden Ball schlagen. Gut bewegen. Auf geht's. Ha? Komm mal.
This time it's Schüttler's turn to come on. Will he get the same response as what we saw from Bruno with Andreescu? I'm going to pose that question to you, Naomi. I mean, what should he have said there? I mean, we can't understand German. This time Kerber a lot calmer and was just absorbing what her coach had to say.
I think the first thing to tell her is that Andreescu is out on her feet, as if Kerber didn't know that, but just a reminder that she is absolutely exhausted and she's really just going down to the last reserves, and Kerber is so good against players in those positions.
But the thing is, and we said this a couple of nights ago against Svitolina, we said exactly the same thing. Svitolina's great against players like that, yet Svitolina backed off, went too defensive and got stung. And that's the worry surely for Kerber here.
And she has to maintain her aggression. But as much as Andreescu is back playing phenomenally well again, the first task is to at least ask her to play like that all the time, get rid of the unforced errors, but still keep that depth, keep the quality.
So if you're Kerber, are you going hard and deep down the middle?
Yeah,
as in just keeping in
plan,
the margins? I mean, that's another ripper.
15-13.
There's just not enough on it from Kerber. And she needs to start making some first serves here as well, because this game and the last service game of hers has struggled.
It's a psychological effect too for the German. No, she's missed it. I mean, when she got the break to go 3-2 up, you'd have to think at that point she's thinking, I'm pretty much there. And then suddenly to change that mindset.
Thank you.
And look at this, 2 break points for Andreescu.
Contact was good for service.
Nerves, what nerves?
A little bit of a smile from Kerber. I'm not sure she's had the most fun in this match, I'm not going to lie, but I mean, just stunning response from Andreescu.
I think there are 27 other players who haven't had that much fun against Andreescu this year. Andreescu breaks and will serve for the title.
Oh, it's been so dramatic all the way through. Andreescu has just been utterly outstanding. She's not there yet. One game is an awful lot against a champion like Kerber.
Thank you.
Seems like Kerber's run out of ideas, really. Just cannot get the quality on the ball that she needs.
Almost lost for words with what we're witnessing, what we have witnessed time and time again. Not there yet, though. Smart from Kerber. And the cramp's coming. And she was having issues with this against Svitolina. So much of cramp is to do with nervous tension. Can you believe it?
15.
Kerber with an unforced error. And listen to the noise on Stadium 1. What a tournament. And it is two match points for Bianca Andreescu.
Doing the point. Thank you.
Unbelievable defense from Kerber. The experience telling. Making sure she got her 18-year-old opponent to play one extra ball. I know how he's feeling. And I'm a neutral. Second championship point.
Oh, well, just really struggling to find the leg strength there. She needed off that deep ball. Kerber doing what we expect of her. Getting the balls back in play, getting them back deep. But this is Andreescu's to take here. She's just got to summon it from somewhere.
Well, if you like your drama, this has been the place to be since Wednesday last week. Is it finally going to come to an end here? Third championship point. Well, I'm surprised she didn't go line, Andreescu. Kerber has gone line time and time again. And yet Andreescu stepped to the left.
I wonder what Kerber is thinking right now. Is she smiling because she knows she's got out of these situations before? We've seen it.
Just another day for Angelique Kerber. Oh, just when you thought this match couldn't get any better. What are we watching right now?
Kerber deciding not to miss. From being, I mean, you couldn't get closer to losing this match with those match points. Kerber knows how to deal with it. She will force Andreescu to win this, to snatch it away from her.
It's a break point. No, just astounding defense from Angelique Kerber. And you can understand the final shot from Andreescu. She reset herself time and time again, but there was no way through. We go on. Kerber breaks back. Well, the good news for Bianca Andreescu is that we've written her off about 11 times already in this event. And she's still out there. It's going to take some effort from here, isn't it? 3 championship points have come and gone. She was dictating every single one of those points. But somehow Kerber is still alive and now serving to stay in the match again. That's brilliant. And what we were saying at the sit-down was that in that previous game, Andreescu was committing to each shot, maybe holding 10% back. We didn't see her step up and hit the drive volley. And that was perhaps what allowed Kerber to hang in there. Great first point of this game.
Such a good point from Kerber. We've seen it so many times. Andreescu's fed up with it. Quite frankly, the wide swinging serve and then the first shot to space is so reliable.
So what does she do on this advantage court side, Naomi? What would you do? I mean, you know it's going to go out that way, surely.
Yeah, I mean, you've just got to move a little earlier, try and take the ball early as well.
Do you go line or cross?
Go straight down the middle, deep.
She got herself in the point. That was again a tired-looking finish. Just brilliant. It's a 4th championship point. astounding Andreescu. One of the most astonishing performances at a tournament from an 18-year-old you will ever see. And Bianca Andreescu is the BNP Paribas champion. The 4th ever youngest winner, the 1st ever wildcard winner. And what a way to do it in arguably the best ever Indian Wells tournament we have ever seen. The heart, the determination, the tactics, the guts, and the character. It was all there. Andreescu wins 6-4, 3-6, 6-4 in 2 hours and 18 minutes of a quite unbelievable final.
Just extraordinary. I'm stunned. I think the crowd are stunned. Angelique Kerber is stunned. She thought she had a grip on it finally. She'd wrestled it away from her. And Andreescu just refusing. She just refused to let her body give up. She refused to let Kerber in enough. Sensational tennis. The fight is just extraordinary. I mean, you do not see a mental performance like that very often, let alone from an 18-year-old.
And you may have heard that, oh my God. I think that rather sums it up. I mean, you can see the shot in terms of what's happened to her. Just to remind you, she was losing in the 2nd round of a 25K ITF event in Tokyo this time last year. She is going to be world number 24 in a day's time. She has just won arguably the biggest tournament outside of the majors at the first time of asking.
It's just exceptional. I mean, it's difficult to describe. It's so unexpected, and time after time after time, she's been playing so well with phenomenal achievements. We thought, well, maybe Svitolina will just be one step too far. She's another level of opponent, and then again with Kerber.
Just wow. Well, everyone can just get their breath back. And it'll be fascinating to hear what she has to say in the ceremony, but this was how she did it with regards to the stats.
Well, it wasn't really about the stats, was it? I mean, it was about the emotion, the energy, and the momentum swings. I mean, Kerber must have thought she had that in the bag when she went up a break in that final set. But Andreescu, again, just digging her heels in. The stats is a little topsy-turvy through the match. They've evened themselves out in the end, but you can see Kerber, only 16 winners. Just not quite aggressive enough from her. We would normally see more than that, even though she's known as a counter-puncher, particularly the forehand line. Andreescu was just taking charge and was just bossing it from the back of the court. I don't know how she managed to come back from that position, dead on her feet. Just extraordinary.
So I'm going to ask you the question now, Naomi. Best ever Indian Wells?
Absolutely. It's got to be. It can't possibly be any better than what we've seen.
I mean, when you just consider, I mean, the matches that we've seen, I mean, we thought it was going to take something special to top Serena Williams against Azarenka. That seems like eons ago with all of the matches we've seen since then. And what a way to cap the tournament off. And I mean, the